Greetings, Richard Fulmer here. Welcome to another edition of Richard's Rock Rambles. So for the last couple of episodes, we've had a look at bands that didn't quite make it to the top for whatever reason, be it management, be it band issues, not enough label support, whatever. But we've looked at bands who started in the early 70s, most of them, and some don't exist anymore, some do. Today we're going to have a look at a band that haven't been going for that long, but it's a band who I believe should be so much bigger than they are. They have all the right attributes: great singer, great rhythm section, magic guitarist, good songwriting, but they just haven't cracked it to the top yet. They have had some notable tours. They've supported people like Black Sabbath and AC/DC, which are pretty big names to support. So who am I talking about? I'm talking about the American band Rival Sons. They formed in Long Beach, California in 2009. So as you can see, they haven't been going for that long, just 10, 11 years. The original lineup was Jay Buchanan on lead vocals, magic singer. If you can imagine a guy who's got it's a mixture of Robert Plant, Paul Rodgers, a bit of Jim Morrison, you get Jay Buchanan. So that's how good he is. And he's got great stage presence as well as what you need in a front man. Scott Holiday on guitar, great riffmeister, nice tasty lead breaks, just does enough. He's not a flashy guitarist by any means, he's not a Joe Satriani, but what he does well, and it fits within the framework of that band and the style that they play. Dave Best on bass and Michael Miley on drums. Dave Best took over from the original bassist Robin Everhart, who was with him from 2009 to 2013. He then decided that he didn't really want to go on tour. He wasn't into the whole touring thing, living out of a bus, etc. And so that's where Dave Best stepped in, and he's done pretty well. I think he slotted in quite easily with the drummer Michael Miley. Make a nice combination. So what does their sound like? Well, I suppose it's a mixture of Zeppelin, Bad Company, The Doors, blues, hard rock, bit of psych thrown in, some pretty long songs. It's almost if you could take this band back to, I would say, the early to mid 70s and release their albums, they would be huge. They would have been massive. So there's 6 studio albums. I'm missing the last 2, but I have the others. As I said, they supported Black Sabbath in 2017 on Black Sabbath's The End tour, which was their final hurrah. So that was quite a good slot to get. Their 2016 album is called Hollow Bones. That's the one that I don't have. A great album. Some good tracks on that. And then last year's 2019 Feral Roots, which has done pretty well for them. They've got some really good reviews on that album. And I think the title track, Feral Roots, is probably the best one on the album. Slow burner, takes you into different parts of the song. Lots of great lead breaks. Yeah, good vocals as well. So let's have a look at what I have. Starting off in 2009 with the album Before the Fire from Rival Sons. Quite a cool cover, I think. Let's see if there's a picture of the band inside that I can show you. There we go. They're the guys. Tell Me Something, Lucky Girl, Memphis Sun, Pocket Full of Stones, which is a great track. Very 60s, 70s sort of vibe there. Pleasant Return, Flames of Lanka, On My Way. All in all, a great debut. I mean, a debut album can make you or break you. And this one, definitely, they had all the right elements here. And I think they pretty much used the same producer right throughout their career. He was a gentleman by the name of Dave Cobb. And I think he's been with them right up until the most recent. Certainly on all the ones that I have. So that was the first album, Before the Fire. Then the album that really got them noticed, the one called Pressure and Time, with a really interesting cover there, done by Storm Thorgerson, the guy from Hypnosis. He did the album cover, and he was quite impressed with this band. And this is on the Earache label, which is a metal label. So it's quite a big label. Pressure and Time, the title track, was a really good song. Only One, Burn Down Los Angeles, that was another hit that came off the album. They've also done quite a few music videos, and I think that was a music video for that song. White Noise is a great track. Face of Light, All Over the Road. Lots of melody, lots of tasteful guitar work, some great riffs, nice fuzz guitar, harking back to the early 70s sound. But they're not a copycat band. They're not a Greta Van Fleet, if you like. It's not obvious who they're copying. They still have their own sound. They just borrow a lot from those great bands from the 70s. And they have, in Jay Buchanan, they have a very, he's got a very distinctive voice. And I think that's what you need these days, is you need somebody to stand out, somebody to be a little different. So Pressure and Time, a really good album. I just want to see if there's anything in here that I can show you. Yeah, there's a good picture of the guys. So that's Jay Buchanan there. And that's the drummer Michael Miley. And this was the original bassist, David Best. And on guitar, Scott Holliday. They have a particular look as well, especially these days. Waistcoats and fancy moustaches and what have you. But nothing over the top. It's just, I think, to set them apart from all the other bands that are out there. So that was the second album. We move on to the third one, called Head Down. I really enjoy this album as well. This has got a lot of, you can see they're starting to come into their own here with their sound. Keep On Swinging was the first song that was taken off this album, and there was a great music video for that as well. Wild Animal, Run From Revelation, All the Way, Manifest Destiny Part 1 and Part 2, which really goes back to the Zeppelin sound, if you like. And those two tracks for me are the strongest on the album. They're quite long, but you don't lose interest. They keep you glued to the speakers. The Heist is a good track as well. The whole album is great. There's a picture of the guys in the studio. So at this stage, they still had the original bassist, Dave Best, but this would go on to be his final album with the band. Very solid album. Recommend that one. And the one I think which also got them a lot of recognition was Great Western Valkyrie, which is that one there with that sort of sepia color cover with the guys all in their different outfits. That's the inside cover. Never sure if everybody can see what I'm showing here. Anyway, there we go. Electric Man, that was a big hit off here. Good Luck, Play the Fool, Good Things, Bellstar, Where I've Been. Amazing album. They have refined their sound a bit from the early stuff you can hear. If you go back to their first album, a bit raw, so they've sort of smoothed out the edges, and yeah, they're really professional. I mean, these guys live are just as good as they are in the studio. As far as I know, there's not a official live DVD, but there is quite a bit of stuff on YouTube that you can check out. And yeah, they really know how to get a crowd going. And Jay Buchanan is an amazing frontman. He harks back to the days of when frontmen were really great, like your Coverdells, your Plants, Paul Rogers, like I mentioned, Ian Gillan, you know, that kind of frontman who engages with the audience and sort of runs the scene in the front there, along with the bassist and the guitarist. But I think if you have a great frontman with a great voice, it's half the battle won. So that's the last one that I have. As I mentioned, there are two others, Hollow Bones and Feral Roots from last year, which is an amazing album. Great cover art as well, which is I really enjoy about this band, is the interesting cover art that they have. So there we go, short and sweet today. I just thought, for all these people who keep harking on about, oh, rock is dead, all the best bands have come and gone, there's nothing new out there that's of any worth. Well, this is proof that that theory doesn't hold any water. There are some great bands out there. All you need to do is just dig a little deeper. Take some time out to find these guys. They are out there. And at the moment, obviously, with COVID, nobody's touring. And as we all know, bands don't make money from album sales anymore. Those days are gone. The glory days of the 70s and the 80s and maybe even the 90s, those are gone. If a band wants to really stick out these days and make it, you have to tour. And I think this band personifies that sort of attitude. They really go out and they tour. I mean, they supported Sabbath on their own, I think, for most of that tour. And from what I've read and what I've heard, they went down very well. And, to convert a Sabbath crowd is not easy. Those guys are very loyal to Sabbath, and they usually give the opening bands quite a bit of stick, but they pulled it off. The same story with AC/DC, another band that their supporters are also very picky about, who's opening for them, but they won the audience over. So do yourself a favor, check out Rival Sons. Great band, great sound, well produced, tasty guitar licks, nice riffs, a lot of melody, an all-round great band from the States. So check them out. Next week, I'm going to check out a band for you guys from Sweden. Now, there's a country that's just got some incredible bands over the years. And it's a band who started out as a rock power trio. They've added a few things as well, some psychedelia and what have you. And they go by the name of Kamchatka. You guys may not have heard of them, but I'll be telling you some more next week. So everybody out there, take care, have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.